What's up, you guys? How y'all doing? I have returned for the recap video of the 2024 St. Louis Supercross, and holy smokes, the 250s didn't really have much to talk about, but the 450s certainly did. But first of all, before I get to this, before I put up my banner, guys, remember, subscribe. That's how this channel grows. I want to keep my monetization status. I got my channel remonetized on December 1st, 2023. And I want to be able to keep it. And if you think I'm worth listening to, or if you think my points are worth listening to, just hit the subscribe button. Or if you want to see other videos from me that I've already posted, like some of my game show runs, make sure you just hit the subscribe button. So anyway, guys, let's get into this. I'm going to put up my banner here. I'm going to start with the 250 class first. Levi Kitchen sweeps the Triple Crown. Now, first of all, as far as St. Louis is concerned, this is the second time in history that St. Louis was designated a West Coast event. And quite frankly, I liked it better when it was designated as an East Coast event, because when you look at the soil, that's clearly what you expect to see on an East Coast style track. And for someone like Levi Kitchen to come through with the sweep is not really surprising, because that was a soft track, and Kitchen, being from Washington, would excel on those kinds of tracks, or even some of the hard pack ones like Washougal, or even those that have good throttle control, clutch control. That kind of stuff is where, like I said, that's where guys like Levi Kitchen will excel in. Okay, so while I wasn't surprised to see Levi Kitchen win this title, I got to tell you, if I'm Kawasaki right now, I'm putting this guy on the Christmas list for 2025 or 2026, because Levi Kitchen, if he wins this title, he'll get 1 year to defend it. And quite frankly, I don't like that rule, because, or I do and don't, or I should say not completely don't like it, but I do and don't like the rule, because if you bump the champion out of the class, of course, you get 1 year to defend it, but if the champion decides to move up, that could prove to be a detrimental move if right away after he wins the title, which is why I think the 250 class point out rule has to be tweaked, or at least go by points again, because really, just make it to a point. That's why I said in a prior video to either keep the rule in. If you want to keep the rule in, fine, but start going by points again. I would make the rule score over 100 or 150 points in 3 seasons, period. Doesn't have to be consecutive. But still, back to St. Louis. That was a track where Levi Kitchen really had his starts dialed in. And my pick for the championship, RJ Hampshire, did not have his starts dialed in. And while Jordon Smith, second in the series, did a little better, it still was not, sorry guys, it still was not the kind of performance that I'm sure that Jordon Smith himself would have liked to have, okay? And that was a track where passing was probably around the middle, you know? Like, that was a track to pass on, but at the same track, it was a track that you couldn't really pass on. The only place where I thought that track would produce some passing was after the horseshoe turn, you know, or after the horseshoe turns across the start, you know, where you would go with that right hand 90-degree turn, where somebody could jump in to the inside and cut in front of your line and cut you off, and then you'd make the pass, because then that guy would have to either double or single or go 1-2 or 2-1. Okay, you see what I'm getting at here? That is like old school. That's like old school tracks, you know. Jeremy McGrath made it work at Tampa in 96, where he would cut to the inside on someone, okay? And then they would have to double the triple, okay? That's what I meant, because that was a track where if you had to pass someone, you had to get really creative with your lines. And some guys did too, okay? And while Levi Kitchen didn't have to worry about passing anyone, his other competitors did, okay? While Levi Kitchen not winning that race didn't really surprise me, I actually thought if there was a guy that I thought would have done better, it was RJ Hampshire. But he had to nail his starts if he's going to win this title. Because at this point, Levi Kitchen could be the one to win this title and get 1 year to defend it. And I'm pretty sure he's going to take it too. Which is why if I'm Team Kawasaki, I'm putting Levi Kitchen on the Christmas list for either 25 or 26 Supercross, depending on what Levi Kitchen does. But I'm pretty sure that Kitchen's contract is 2 years. But we'll see. But he didn't have to worry about anything out front. Levi Kitchen I'm talking about. But I'm happy for Jo Shimoda to finally get a podium and his best finish of the season. So, really, if I'm Honda right now, you have to be encouraged a little bit by how Jo Shimoda is riding. But frankly, for Honda right now, I probably would have lowered those standards a little bit. Okay? I mean, if you're hiring Jo Shimoda to win, at this point, they're probably sick and tired of the way that Shimoda is where Jo Shimoda is finishing. Especially on some races where he probably should have excelled, like San Francisco in the mud, even though it's mud and that's really a crapshoot. And of course, in mud, anything that could go wrong can go wrong. So now for the 450s. Eli Tomac sweeps the races. Now, technically, Eli Tomac was given the second main event win after Jett Lawrence jumped on a red cross flag on the finish line jump. But quite frankly, I think that was a penalty that should not have happened. Now, there should have been a red cross. Now, I was looking on Instagram, and some are saying that there should have been a red cross flag coming up or a yellow flag coming up before the finish line jump, and Vince Friese was down. But playing devil's advocate, Vince Friese was down, but he was in a relatively safe part of the track where if someone rolls the jump, they're likely going. The main line was on the rider's left side, okay, and Vince Friese was all the way on the right, on the rider's right, okay. So for the red cross flag to be out, of course you always want to heed caution, but still, it should be what they should have also done was wave it, instead of just keeping it stagnant like this. And that way then, I'm sure that if Jett Lawrence saw that, he probably would have rolled the jump. But I think that Jett Lawrence was already committed when he already saw the red cross flag, okay? And of course, you can't really fault Jett Lawrence, but still, Vince Friese was in a relatively safe part of the track. So if I'm the AMA, I probably would have let that go. Okay? But still, for Jason Anderson to be docked 4 positions, that's a pretty big penalty because for him to do it twice. Okay, so quite frankly, for Jett Lawrence, I don't think that penalty should have happened, but it did. And of course, you always got to heed to the red cross flag. But still, I still think the red cross flag should have been waving instead of just being stagnant like this. Okay, so that's where I feel like the AMA should really look into waving the red cross flag instead of keeping it stagnant. So, and especially when Vince Freeze was in a relatively safe part of the track where he was down. So to play devil's advocate, Vince wasn't hurt. And, and if there was no harm, no foul, then there shouldn't have been a penalty. You see what I'm getting at here? But anyway, you live and learn. Of course, Aaron Plessinger was docked. Chase Sexton was docked. Cooper Webb was docked. Jason Anderson was docked 4 positions like I talked about earlier. The other guys I mentioned, only 2 spots. And also, I think I might have mentioned Chase Sexton. That's really too bad, because I think that kind of toyed with Jett Lawrence in the 3rd race. But then again, it couldn't have. Maybe it didn't. You never know. But I do hope that Jett Lawrence is okay. I don't think anything should be broken after that crash. But still, I'm going to address this because I was looking on Instagram and Justin BARCIA had rode up to Jett Lawrence as if to say, sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. I saw the hand on the shoulder like this, and that's an indication where Justin BARCIA was definitely saying, hey, sorry about that, man. I didn't mean to hit you. So that's why I say in my banner that Justin BARCIA is not to blame in this incident. That was clearly a racing incident. And hey, it was really the first lap. And, or really the first full trip around the track. Okay? And everybody's still bunched up. So really, what do you reasonably expect on the opening lap? Everybody's all bunched up. Okay? And while Jett Lawrence cutting down early may not have been the best choice, still, could BARCIA have seen that coming? Absolutely not. Like I said, what do you reasonably expect on the opening lap? Okay? Everybody's bunched up, and while making passes on the opening lap, on the opening lap or laps is a useful idea or a useful line, but still to do it on the very first lap may or may not be the best decision, okay? Still, do not fault Justin BARCIA. That was a racing incident. Now think back to 2016 when James Stewart got taken out by Ryan Dungey. There was nothing that Dungey could do. He came up short on the double, and there just was no time for Dungey to react. And while some guys wanted to place blame on Dungey, I didn't place blame on Dungey for the same reason. What do you reasonably expect on the opening lap? Ask yourself that, okay? So don't go throwing the blame on BARCIA saying, oh, BARCIA took Jett out. He should be penalized. No, he should not be penalized. That was a racing incident at its finest, okay? BARCIA hit the brakes. There was nothing he could do after Jett cut down early. So don't fault Justin BARCIA. Don't put him at fault, okay? Just, you also live and learn, but I think the Jett should be okay. I don't think anything should be broken. Jett did return to the race, which is a good sign, just to save some points. Fortunately, because of the way that the Triple Crown format is, he ended up 8th place overall for the night. And now, as we head into the Easter break, or as we head into the weekend off, Jett does have some time to heal. I don't think that Jett should be facing any injury, and I don't think Justin BARCIA should be facing any penalties, and I don't think he will face any penalties, because clearly that was a racing incident, 100%. And like I said before, it's the opening lap. What do you reasonably expect? Ask yourself that, okay? What do you reasonably expect? Okay? I'm going to leave it at that, okay? And while Eli Tomac has supposedly been battling a tweaked ankle from 3 weeks ago, that might explain why you've yet to see beast mode, okay? And 3 races ago, that would probably be around Daytona, which would probably explain why I didn't see Eli Tomac back up beast mode from his ride at Dallas, okay? So for Tomac to fight an ankle injury, that could certainly impede your progress, okay? And do I think Eli Tomac is back? Probably. And that's bad news for the pack. But fortunately, Eli Tomac is kind of a little bit far back enough to where I don't see him as the champion unless Jett Lawrence and Cooper Webb get injured. Okay? But as for Chase Sexton, I was actually a little disappointed by Sexton's ride. Of course, him crashing in the first race did not do him any favors. But frankly, I think that Sexton was kind of hot and cold, okay? And while I thought he answered some questions at the last race in Seattle, he didn't really back it up at St. Louis. So I'm hoping that, and this also backs up why I think the Triple Crown format should go by full point structure and count it as full main events. Because if you count it as full main events with full point structure, that'll show up in the record books. And you do that, we probably wouldn't even be discussing why Eli Tomac had not won a race until last Saturday night. Or until last night, I should say. And if the Triple Crown format were full point structure for the main events, were regular main events with full point structure, I probably wouldn't be discussing why Chase Sexton has yet to win a race other than after San Francisco. And that's why I feel that Sexton should have had another win and had the Triple Crown format counted as regular main events, Chase Sexton would have at least 1 or 2 more wins to his credit. Okay? And at the same time, Jett Lawrence may very well be looking at saving the points lead even after his disastrous ride in the third main event at St. Louis. Okay? So this is a sign. So why do I not like the Triple Crown structure? Why do I not like the Triple Crown format? It's solely because of the points structure. Okay? And that's why I think the AMA should make some changes to that. Okay? So if the AMA doesn't make any changes to the point structure, it's pretty clear that they're just letting that go on deaf ears. Okay? So anyway, guys, that's off. So anyway, guys, before I go, I have one last guy to talk about, Adam Cianciarulo. Oh, that guy can't even buy a break this year. It was his mechanic's last race. He's moving to 4 wheels, and Adam Cianciarulo saw his night end after the first main event. And it looks like that Cianciarulo could have a tweaked ankle. Best wishes to him. I don't see him racing again in 2025. So hopefully, AC, hope you're healing up. I sure hope that you hit the podium before the season's over. That'll be a feel-good story. So hopefully that Cianciarulo is okay. We'll see him at the next round. And he does have a couple of weeks to get better. So anyway, guys, that's all for today. Remember, subscribe if you like my recaps. Just hit the subscribe button. If you think my points are worth listening to, hit the subscribe button. So anyway, guys, that's all for today. Happy Easter. Enjoy your week off. And remember, subscribe. We'll see you all for the next round.